Good morning. Um, my name is Louise. I will be the facilitator today. Um, so, Eracism is the slogan. Oh, that's cool. Um, Eracism is the slogan of the group Erace, which was formed in New Orleans in the summer of 1993. We seek ways through person to person communication to show that we are committed to treating all human beings with love, respect, empathy, compassion, and humility. Join us. Erace is an organization that does not espouse any political party, and we have no religious affiliation. We believe in acceptance of all people, and no personal attacks of any kind will be tolerated. We come with the intention to listen, learn, and not to argue. The land acknowledgement. We begin today by acknowledging that what we know as the United States is the ancestral and unceded territory of many indigenous peoples, and that there are many more nations and tribes that could be named here. Members of our meeting group today are on the lands of the Chitimacha and Choctaw in New Orleans, the Creeks and Cherokees in Atlanta, the Tonkawan, Lipan, Apache, and Comanche in Austin, and the Kahula and Mojave in Riverside, and the Lumbee in Fayetteville. We thank their ancestors for being stewards of these lands through the generations and through today. We need to protect and honor the history and people of these places. Despite centuries of colonial theft and violence, we should always remember that we are still on indigenous land, and it will always be indigenous land. So the format, we're all veterans here, so I think we know, but basically one finger, wave it around on the screen. To get on the list, you'll have 2 minutes. I forgot how many minutes we had then. 2 minutes to talk. And if someone has it's me looking at the mimosas there. It's making me forget things. If you want to clarify, at the end, if you have a clarifying question, you raise one finger, two fingers, sorry, and it's basically to say I didn't understand what you meant by, or can you please, clarify some word or something that you said, not for a rebuttal. Rebuttal you can get on the list, and then you can talk for your 2 minutes. I think that's it. At the end, everyone will have 1 minute if they have spoken. If they haven't spoken, you'll have 2 minutes. I want to introduce this subject because actually it's Teresa who sent it to me. And as a facilitator, the worst part is choosing a subject matter. And, it's always a nightmare. And luckily, Teresa just sent me this by chance. And it was like, ooh, yes. So we have Teresa to thank for this piece. But it meant a lot to me, obviously, as women are Black women especially have been shouldered with so many things, and then the recent cuts have left them to struggle even harder, make their lives even harder. Single parent mostly, and it's just hard. So yes, I'd be interested in seeing what we all say today. Let's see if there's any men that come into the conversation. That would be good too. So let's introduce ourselves. And I would say, oh, I got you, Teresa. I'll put you first on the list, baby. Don't worry. Phyllis, let's introduce ourselves.
I'm Phyllis. I'm in New Orleans and I've been coming to Erace since the summer of 2008, and I voted today.
Yay. Sorry, Nancy.
Good morning. I'm Nancy. I'm in the New Orleans area, and I have been coming to Erace since June of 2007. And I will vote later today.
Great, thank you. Dee Dee, welcome back.
Thank you. Excuse me. I've been off and on coming to Erace. ever since I was in Georgia visiting my sister, and I went to an Erace meeting with her, and that was like 7 or so years ago. And so, like I'm in California, so there's a serious time difference on a Saturday that I don't really have to get up. But I did this morning, and then I read the article and it made my blood boil. And so I decided I was going to share my frustration with a group of folks that understand that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm glad I'm here.
Yay, thank you. It was a long article, and I know that sometimes puts people off, but anyway, Teresa.
Hi, I'm Teresa Roberson. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I've been coming since August 2022.
Thank you. Marion.
Good morning again. I'm Marion and I'm here in New Orleans. Looking forward to this discussion. I've been attending the Erase discussion since June of 1993 and heard Rachel Maddow give a scathing, honest condemnation of this topic that we're to talk about. She was really ticked off.
Well, you can tell us more about it when you get on the list.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And the list is open. Well, it's not now. Teresa is first, and then it's open. Go ahead, Teresa.
Thank you. I didn't realize that I would be giving you the discussion article because I also
Yes,
thought it
thank
was
you.
long, but I just thought given our two-person, in-person, unofficial erase discussion that we had a couple of Sundays ago, that this was just, again, you want to share with people who you can rant with, but it used to be, I don't know if it still is for the current generation, but it used to be you work twice as hard to get half as much and whatever, and all the gains that can just be knocked down by two people, really. The Orange Menace and his pet billionaire, who I don't know if they're as close as they were last year when everyone got doged, but just amazing how quickly all of that progress could be. And this article was sent to me. Well, I know I shared this before, but from 92 to 94, I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Tanzania. And this came through a listserv from returned Peace Corps volunteers because some of the women who were Doge, Peace Corps was an initiative started by JFK. And they've been chomping at the bit to defund and terminate that program. So this is how I came across this article, just, keeping up with an organization that really changed my life and did well and good in the world. But, of course, that's just like bleeding heart liberalism. Am I at 2 minutes? I'll get back on.
No, you're not. But Marion, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Sorry, carry on. You've got a little bit.
So I was just absolutely amazed. And I was wondering what's going to be, as Black women, our next strategy? Because that whole working hard twice as much to get half as far, and that is not, it is a strategy, but it can't be the only one. So that's what I was thinking about, because for the past couple of years, I know I have been underemployed. And it's like, is it even worth it to even strive when something like that can just come along and wipe you out? And those poor women who got doged, they're trying to live at the salary that I work now. And it's like, well, I'm already here. So I guess it's good that I'm developing a different strategy. I'll leave it at that, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the list is open. If anyone would like to, Nancy, go ahead.
I recently on Facebook saw a posting by Kerry Washington that addressed exactly that. Her character, she brought up Papa Pope from when she was on Scandal always used that um, phrase, you have to work twice as hard to get half as much. Okay. And then also she brought out, but even with that, um, gains that or what you strive for can be wiped out, and she brought up um, what's going on in Louisiana right now with the redistricting and the congressional maps and the wanting to oust the Orleans, the entire Orleans parish, the mayor and the city council, because they wanted to take a stand against the actions being taken against the clerk of court, the two offices of clerk of court, and hold a special election, and there's a whole lot that goes on with it. I mean, Phyllis might be able to address that even more since she lives in Orleans, and Marion. They live in Orleans Parish. But the point of it is that she was right when she addressed how easily the gains that you have worked for can be so easily taken away by powers that be, just because they can. They get together and they decide that, oh, this group has too much power, they have too much money, they're living too, oh, I just don't like them. And so I'm going to invent some legislation to disenfranchise them or whatever they choose to do. But it was an interesting post that she made encouraging people to vote. That's what her point was. Thank you.
Thank you. The list is open. If anyone wants to get on, I always also, if there's a lull, to add that I feel that men in power, old white men, basically are fearful of black women, strong black women. And it seems like they just want to, tie their hands and feet and cripple them, you know? It's like, what are you frightened of? The power that women and black women have. It just seems like, why are you, if you feel that they're so insignificant, why are you doing everything you can to damage their progress? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. That's a bit of a side bar there. But okay, it's open. Anyone wants to jump in?
I'll jump in. There's
Okay.
only a few roles that this country wants Black women to play, and it's either Mammy or Sapphire. They either want us to be the side piece or the caregivers, and that's pretty much it. If you're a thinking, at one point, I haven't checked the statistics now, but at one point, Black women were getting degrees at the highest rate of any demographic in this country. And again, I don't know that, and to a certain degree, I'm underemployed with a master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And that has something to do with COVID, but then it's also, wow, if I get to so high, especially with the government, then my head's going to be chopped because of some political initiative. I mean, I feel great that I work for a Fortune 500 company, but even then, the threat is AI. And believe you me, once AI can do my job, I am out. So, and for people who think, well, AI, it's not racist. Oh, yes, it is. Those programs have the inherent biases of the people who code. Who are the people who are coding? They're typically male, they're typically white. So you have, I forget what show it was because I didn't watch the show, but there was some show where there was an let's call it a smart elevator, and it would read the characteristics of the employees. Well, if you were darker skinned, then the elevator wouldn't open
Oh, what?
because it was programmed by people who were white, and they didn't take into account different skin hues. They use themselves as a standard, although the employees, and that's what I think about. It's just like things that are built not by people who look like me, and then can just say, well, it's the computer. That's why I don't want to apply for any jobs nowadays, because it's not a real person who's reading your resume. If there's anything on your resume that puts you in a demographic that will make you less desirable, you're not going to get that job anyway.
Right. Thank you, Teresa. Nancy.
Yeah, there are two things that piggybacking on what Teresa said that I wanted to address. One was the myth of education, that you were always told, oh, educate yourself, and you will advance. No, you will be in debt. It's not necessarily getting an education is going to guarantee you success in this country.
I got you, Mary.
Going to find out that you are in debt. You got these student loans, and student loan debt is extremely burdensome these days. As this article pointed out, they had these six-figure student loan debts that they are, they can't pay back.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to, the powers that be, once again, don't want to relieve students of this burdensome student loan debt. When I initially went to school, um, and the way that it's structured also now is much different than it was 50 years ago. You could go to school part-time, pay for each class, and come out with no student debt. It's very difficult to do that now. All right, but anyway, that's a different subject. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was the AI and the technology that Teresa was talking about, how it doesn't recognize Black people. And there was something else I saw, I don't remember if it was on Instagram or Facebook, but one of them, about how when you go in the bathroom, those faucets that you have to stick your hand under for it
Yeah.
to recognize it. And most of the time I go in there, that thing does not recognize my hand. Why? Because it's not programmed to recognize darker skin complexion. I read that on internet, and I was, oh my God, I can't believe it. It goes all the way down to the water faucets don't recognize darker skin tones. And that's why the water doesn't come out of the faucet. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Where
You got a
did you read
question?
that? Because I feel I get that when I go, and I'm not that dark, but I am quite olive. But
Well,
where did you
no,
read that?
I think it was on Instagram. I do. It had to be on Instagram. It wasn't on Facebook. I read it
That's,
on Instagram. Let me
uh-huh.
see. I'll look for it while someone
Okay.
else is talking. Okay.
Marion, you're up, sweetie.
I just got a message saying that was on a site that was loaded with viruses, but I'm ignoring that. Okay. All kind of funny stuff is going on. A few minutes ago, I was speaking about Rachel Maddow. She said something about this. She said everything that has been going on that honest American citizens consider dishonest, deporting people who are trying to get citizenship or have it, and they're being deported because of their surnames. This current engagement, trying to demean Black women, she said, is part of Project 2025. Anything that isn't in the interest of Tangerine Man, that's part of that's part of that plan. Getting rid of immigrants, uh, purging the rolls, making sure that people in the minority group can't vote, the redistricting. All of this is part of Project 2025. So she said there's definitely going to have to be a battle ahead. She said there are groups in the country that are meeting. They're going to make the White House folks know that people are very much aware of what's going on and what they're trying to do. So this is part of the Project 2025 that Rachel Maddow mentioned. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Marion. The list is open. Nancy.
Found it. The vast majority of technology was developed with you in mind from the humble camera, whose color film was made to ensure white skin looked as good as possible in photographs, to automatic soap dispensers, which are unable to register darker skin.
Wow. Wow.
Anyway,
Okay, I've got. Did you want to stay on, or you just
no,
wanted
I
to?
just wanted to read, but Phyllis has a
Thank you.
clarifying.
I think we're going to have some more talk. So Phyllis, oh, it's a clarifying, is it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just, is there like a news source or
That's what I'm looking for. Where did I find this?
And Marion, did you want to get back on the list?
let us know if you find it.
Marion, did you want to get back on? You're muted. You're still muted. You're still muted, Marion.
I didn't hit the little button hard enough. Oh no, I was thinking about something, but I'm going to hold that thought just for a few
Okay.
minutes.
All right. But anyone can jump in if you want. But that's so weird that you should mention that, Nancy. Sorry, because I really have felt that with my hands as well. Phyllis, and then Nancy.
Well, I just want to say this puts me in mind of the Handmaid's Tale, where they take all the women out of the workforce and put them into very specific non-employment roles, like being the housekeepers, being the wives, being the handmaids, being the condo wives. And I think that this situation that this article is talking about is actually, well, I think I don't know how all women would be removed from our workforce and anything would continue to function. But in the case of this article, the work that these women described that they did, not just their work, their actual job, but volunteering too, that was keeping a lot of things together and making a lot of things run well and making sure a lot of people got services that they really needed. And I think the whole point of this current regime we have is they don't care. And the president himself said recently, I don't think at all about Americans' economic issues. I only don't want Iran to have nukes, which they were not close to having. So I don't know if people are going to realize it until later that part of the reason stuff is a mess is because these women were taken out of the government and were really doing this whole country a great service. Thanks.
Thank you, Phyllis. Nancy.
Okay, the organization that posted that was called Change, CHNGE.
Say that again.
Change, CHNGE. No A, intentional.
Okay.
And it's on Instagram. But they listed it was like one of 23 studies show white people are more likely to have their pain taken seriously, while Black patients are half as likely to be prescribed pain medication.
Mhm.
Black women are 5 times more likely to die during childbirth. Um, you have the privilege of being taught about your history in school instead of having to seek it out elsewhere. You and your history are centered and often presented in a falsely positive light that glosses over the real atrocities of colonialism, imperialism, and slavery. As a white person, your name alone is likely to get you twice as many job interviews as a candidate with a non-white sounding name, even if you both have otherwise identical resumes. It was stuff like that. That's what's in this post. But the one that really did blow my mind was about the soap dispenser. I was like, because they just, the faucet doesn't work, the soap dispenser doesn't work. I'm like, what is it me? And you'll be standing next to somebody and theirs is working fine. And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
what is it? You will be able to go shopping without being followed around by security. And that has happened to me. And I will call them out when they do that. All right. Um, Black men in the US serve longer prison sentences than white men who have been found guilty of exactly the same crime. Your wealth is going to be less, your personal wealth. It was just a number of different things. Okay, my two
Thank
minutes
you.
is up.
Thank you, Teresa. I mean, thank you, Nancy and Teresa. Marion is next, and then Teresa. Go ahead,
Can I
Marion.
ask a clarifying question of
Oh,
Nancy?
yes.
Okay. Nancy, do you still get followed around when you're shopping?
Well, most recently, it happened to me in Italy.
Holy shit. Okay, sorry.
Yes,
I'm
it
just,
did. It
I
really did.
relate
I
that
mean,
as being a teenager. I didn't know that that's still, but in another country, I believe it. Okay, thank
yeah,
you.
I mean, and I called him out. I mean, all of a sudden, I was looking at a purse that I was going to buy for my daughter, and all of a sudden, there's this man standing behind me, watching everything that I'm doing.
Mm.
And I said, well, immediately I knew what he was doing, and I said, well, then obviously I'm not buying anything out of here. And so I went down to another store where they had purses. Okay, it was in like a little shopping mall, whatever. And this woman came out, and all of a sudden she's standing there with her arms folded, watching me.
Jeez.
So I mentioned it to the store owner who's actually sold Rodney a jacket, you know, and told them that they're standing out there watching me like I'm going to steal something. I don't have to steal anything out of the store. And I'm 70 something years old. It's quite insulting to think
Mhm.
that I got to steal something out of your store. I don't got to steal anything. I never have, but I'm just saying. Yeah,
It's very
it was.
insulting. Um, did you want to be on the list, Teresa, or was that just clarifying question?
That was just a clarifying question. Thank you.
Okay. Marion, you're up.
I was trying to trigger my memory response uh, from what Rachel Maddow said. Um, there's some other blatant violations going on all over the country, and I think it's some kind of concerted effort. And Rachel Maddow did mention the Project 2025 thing. So two things I wanted to say. She told a story about black man who worked as a federal employee, and he was the only person in this area who was black. And the manager of the area, a white guy, came and put a screen between him and the other employees. He was the only, as I said, he was the only black person in the workspace. Actually put up a real screen. She didn't elaborate on it. Also, in another federal workplace, this was not the same workspace, they started separating the cafeteria tables. and making it very plain that the white employees and the black employees are not supposed to be sitting together. And I said, this is crazy. I said, this is a nightmare. What is, I'm listening to the woman and I'm looking at the TV screen, and I couldn't believe my ears or my eyes. And Rachel Maddow was a very trusted journalist, so I believe the report. So we are going to have to really, really be careful, because there's this evil undercurrent that's slowly meandering its way back into our lives. And we are really going to have to be on our guard. Those of us who are Black, those of us who aren't Black, any fair-minded person that has come to the realization that this extra melanin is in my skin does not dehumanize me. I am not some alien from a galaxy a million miles away. I am a human being born on planet Earth. So this is all part of this evil nonsense, I do believe. And we're going to have to really watch our backs as well as our fronts, because this is just getting to be ridiculous.
Thank you, Marion. Okay, the list is open. Does anyone want to jump on? Yes, I got you, Dee Dee. Go ahead.
I was listening to Marion, and she said slowly it's creeping back in. Well, it's not that slowly creeping back in. I mean, the first day he was in office, he made it very clear who he was. And it didn't have too much to do with what his campaign said. It became very, very clear his direction. Oh shoot, I've forgotten the name of the book. But anyway, he made some major, major changes and made it illegal to celebrate diversity, which was my first clue. We've got a problem. And he just got elected, you know? It's not happening slowly. It's happening very rapidly. We are getting dragged back into the 40s and the way things were. It's different. It's somewhat different in California. It's a little bit more subtle than like where you guys live. This stuff is right in your face, and we have a sign in California that's up, and it's fairly up around everywhere, saying we need immigrants to run our state smoothly. And that is very, very true. Immigrants are part of our system. Our system works. And so basically leave us alone. But we respect and need what the immigrants come to this country looking for and what they offer. And I just ran out of time.
No, well, you can totally carry on because there's no one else on the list. So, do you want to finish that thought, or have an extra 2 minutes? A little land gap for you there.
The church that my husband and I attend has a sign out front saying this church recognizes no borders. And we've done social stuff regarding that wall that somebody tried to put up and tried to get Mexico to pay for, which didn't work, by the way. And so there's pieces of it here and there, but um we do recognize no borders, you know. We basically, everybody except Native Americans are foreigners in this country. And that's that. And
Thank
this article was really frustrating to read because that lady was qualified for her job. She worked for her job. She got paid a fair wage for her job, and he took it away just because he could.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's wrong.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Um, Marion.
I just remembered I saw something horrible on the internet a couple of days ago on YouTube, and I was told, well, you have to be careful about that junk on YouTube. Well, I don't consider it junk. The statement and the short video said that there is a movement afoot. I don't know why I didn't say this earlier to take away. Well, we know this birthright citizenship
Mhm.
from not birthright, take away citizenship period from Black people who were born here, like Nancy and me and Dee Dee. We were born in the United States. Am I correct, ladies? Well, it was right there on the screen that there is an attempt being made to abolish the citizenship of people. It's crazy.
Mhm.
This is absolutely nonsense. It was on YouTube. I guess if you put it in the little search box, it'll pop up again.
Okay.
I voted last week. There wasn't any problem. I didn't have to show any ID, anything like that. So I wasn't too worried about it until I saw this commentary 2 days ago. Nancy, you wanted to ask me a question? Hmm.
Had you finished, Marion?
Yes, I saw
Yeah.
Nancy's two fingers.
I just want to know what reason, on what basis, um, were they?
There was no reason given, but considering the conversation we've been having here, it all has to do with Tangerine Man and Project 2025. And they're in your face with it now. So if anybody's thinking, I don't mean in this group or any person that you might know or you might not even know, thinking that, oh, this can't happen, because this country was founded on democratic principles. This country wasn't founded on democratic principles for people that look like me. They were founded on democratic principles based on somebody else who didn't have as much melanin in their skin as I have. So it is, I said slowly, Dee Dee, and I take it back. It's in your face, and I'm not ashamed to admit I am concerned. I think it's going to get to the point where people are going to start having violent acts directed at them. And I have some horrible memories of standing on an intersection, and cups of ice uh, that these young kids had thrown at me. Okay, I'll be quiet.
Sorry. Well, you can get back on. Do you want to get back on?
Okay, I'll listen.
Okay. Well, I've got Teresa next, and then it is open. So you are more than welcome to get back on if you want, Marion.
Yeah, I was just wanted to pivot a little bit. Thinking about next steps. Do we all have to find our OnlyFans niche or something, to make money? It's quicker to make, it seems like that's what even the younger generation, I'm trying to look at the trends because I hear that the younger generations are having less sex. And now that there's going to be a condom shortage, maybe that's great. I also hear that the younger generation have taken up smoking. I don't know why that's coming back, but everything is cyclical, not just vape, but smoking. And now the very ironic health secretary is saying flavored vape pens should be made. And that's not going to appeal to children somehow. I don't know. I mean, I think that's some money in his pocket, but this country was founded on white supremacy and capitalism. So they never meant for it to be diverse in the upper echelons of power. You know, I've often said it before, we have diversity of labor. It's just they wanted the most grueling labor to be for people of melanated skin. So it's not as if they didn't have that in mind. And I'm just hoping I'll outlive the tides turning because this is not sustainable. I said it before and I still believe, and I hope it's not just a fond wish, that if everybody cuts in line, then there is no line. There has to be some type of order, there has to be some type of establishment. And when the highest office has the biggest con artist grabbing power. And again, I want to make a plug for the movie. I mean, not the movie, the series Succession. If you haven't seen it, that's what I think is in the White House. It's just like, it wasn't a surprise to me that, especially the Orange Menace's two sons are trying to like an octopus. You know what? If you know the history, and maybe you do or don't, of Indonesia, they went through a period of the only viable businesses were the ones that the dictators or presidents' children were partners with. And that's what we're becoming here. And when that ended, it was just like melee. You had to partner with one of those, president's adult kids just to get your businesses going. I wonder what the plan B is going to be because the Orange Menace, I mean, you look at his diet, you look at his physique, as some people have said, you look at his hands, it's as if he's rotting from the inside out. That is not sustainable. I mean, just his own health and, thank goodness no billionaire has figured out a way to live forever. They try. I wish they would all go to Mars by now, but that's not happening. You go to Mars, stop taking resources from the Earth. That would be my policy anyway. But thank you. I'm done
Okay,
ranting for now.
thank you. You can get back on if you want. The list is open, but I just want to add that everyone's always down on Trump, which obviously we should be. But what about all of the people around him? Like, I don't, that's what boggles my mind the most. How is he still there when there are obviously some intelligent people, but obviously very greedy as well? Is it just greed? Like, what has he got over them? Like, why isn't anyone stopping this? That's just on my mind. I mean, he's allowed. He's a school bully that's allowed to go and do it, and the principal isn't coming up and dragging him off the playground by his, you know, neck. Like that's my frustration. How is he getting away with this? Yes, Phyllis.
I don't have any definitive answer to that, but I suspect that they're using him to have somebody in power that is popular, and then they will move the next person into power. I definitely think they do not plan to relinquish their hold on the US government very easily, that party.
Who are they?
The MAGA Republicans. And, the billionaires, the
Right. I mean, it's obvious.
Christian fascists, all the bad people.
Okay, but saying that, all the bad people, the dimwits in, that wear the hats and stride around, they don't get anything out of it. They're not getting anything out of it. Who are the people that are getting something
They're
out
making
of?
money. They're making money.
No. The average person, the working class people.
Oh, the average person.
Yeah, your average Trumper.
Because there's I know we shouldn't be going back and forth, but there is somehow there are people in this country who seem to think that they too could be a millionaire or a billionaire, even though there aren't great examples of that happening to a wide swath of their class, their economic class.
Right.
So somehow that's why I think very poor or poorer people get so upset when they talk about taxing the rich because they think someday they're going to be the rich and they don't want to be taxed like that. It's
Right.
psychotic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
So, if we want to get back on it, I do have a question for y'all. What do we do to fix? And I know Teresa said something about it, but like a basic fix, obviously give the women their jobs back. But what else, apart from getting rid of Trump, maybe, but what else as a actual logical solution to raise women back up? What can we do? It's a big
Women
question.
are going to have to speak out.
Do you want to
Uh,
get back? Are you on the list for your 2 minutes?
yes.
Okay,
Uh,
go.
okay. Am I? You can hear me, everybody?
Yep, yep.
Okay, this little muted thing popped up here. Okay. Uh, I don't think we're going to have to do things in isolation. I think collectively, uh, we will have to band together and speak out. Because a little while ago it was mentioned about the Handmaid's Tale, and I think that that's part of the agenda too. Make sure the women's force is weakened, and then we'll take care of these people of color uh, along the way too. So it's going to have to be some loud voices and some action taking place. So as we've been talking, I've been thinking about somebody I'm going to contact, if not today, then Monday. And I know we had a meeting here in Gentilly about the de-districting mess that's going on right now. So the time has come again for people to join uh, and understand that this is going to be difficult, but we're going to have to do some action here to keep us from going back 300 years. I, for one, don't intend to go through that again. So if I can join a group, I don't mind speaking to you all because I believe we're of the same mind, but I am going to talk to someone uh, in this community to see if we can't get together here and start speaking out in a loud voice. And I knew there was something I wanted to say, and I don't mean to take all the time up. I don't know, I forget if it was Hakeem Jeffries or that other guy. They to me they look similar. But he said he wasn't going to be worrying about trying to get Trump impeached. He was going to worry about having laws passed. And I disagree with him because I believe, and I said in another commentary that I believe Trump is a tool. He's not the brightest star in the galaxy, and I do believe that he is being a tool. So, getting back to what I just said, we are going to have to join together. Those people are not afraid and speak out and let our voices be heard. And I am concerned about what's around the corner here where people may get hurt. And
Mhm.
it's really on my mind. I am concerned about that. But this cannot go forward like this. This is
Yeah.
very bad, not good at all.
Okay, so your solution is grassroots organization, right?
Yes, and speaking
Okay.
out in very loud voices, and we just it's going to be a long-term thing.
Yep.
Uh, as long as this man is in office,
Okay.
we can't rest.
Thank you. Phyllis, go ahead.
revolution.
Mm.
Did you say revolution?
Yes.
But
Don't
how?
just
How?
I people I think are too trained to be passive towards what's going on in our country. And something's going to have to happen that will get more people out on the streets. And I think I said before, it can't just be on Saturdays. You got to shut down commerce. You got to make it hard for people to make money for them to listen. When the French people take to the streets and march, they get changes because their government is afraid of them. They know they can mess stuff up. I was going to say something completely different. And our government's not afraid of us, and they need to be. Even if it is somebody you voted for, they should still be afraid. They don't think they work for us. They think they work for APAC and all the other political action committees. And I think I know a lot of people don't want there to be violence, and I don't want there to be violence, but they got to be afraid somehow. And it can't just go burn down your local, grocery store or whatever. Like, I'm waving up towards one near me. You got to hit them. Like somebody here started a fire at the Tesla dealership on Chapatulas. I was not upset about that. So
my clarifying question is, what would it take? Because surely, aren't we struggling now? What would it take for this revolution, which I am totally behind?
I'm not sure, because I keep thinking it should have already happened. This whole Voting Rights Act that's shocking to me, that more people aren't out there. I mean, maybe they're doing it in their own way. I know people call their representatives and stuff, but I've never thought that it would be in any way helpful to call Cassidy or Kennedy, because they're just
not them.
no, not them.
So, like the French, we should bring back the guillotine, right?
I didn't say that. I don't think it's because of the French Revolution that the French government is afraid of their people. I think it's now. It's what they do now. They protest and they tell their government what they want, and the government responds.
Okay, well, I know we've gone a little off the general normal way of doing things, but we're all women and we're all good at
this.
Yeah, right. And I think this is quite a nice way of doing it with the members that are here right now. But if anyone wants to add anything, we can continue this, or we can start the wrap up if you so desire. Phyllis.
Well, I want to say I was talking to somebody recently, I forget who it was, even maybe a coworker or a friend. And I said, we were talking about the Voting Rights Act situation and all that. And I said, I literally know people who have told their stories of what they had to go through to register to vote, like you, Marion. And I'm like, I cannot believe those people are still on the planet and this is getting rolled back. You think it would take longer. But no, not with these people. And Louise, earlier you said, what are these people afraid of? About Black women especially? Revenge. That's what they're afraid of.
Okay,
and
ladies.
I just want to also say what I just need to go about last week's, or the last time we met, the discussion. You all should watch the video if you weren't there. Was really disappointing, I think, for those of us who were there, by some of the responses from the male attendees. And I think I'm not surprised none of them attended this, because it doesn't center them. They really hate it when it doesn't center them. So I'm facilitating next time.
All right. Dee Dee, you wanted to speak, and then I guess we'll do the wrap up if you're all up for that.
I kind of wanted to share an experience with you guys. that would leave this meeting on a little bit of a happier note and not such a note of frustration. Um, well, and I have one other question also, even though I haven't been to one of these meetings in a while, but here we have a topic of clear unfairness to Black women. Where are the men that usually come to this meeting? Just asking. Okay. That kind of sends a message right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so
That if we're going to make things better for ourselves, we're going to have to do it without any help
yeah.
because they ain't here. Okay.
Been done before.
Yeah. Not
Uh-huh.
even a
And we'll
support.
do it again. Um, we're talking about um Black women in a white environment. And when I finished my training to be a state licensed embalmer for California, which is rigorous, it's awful because the state's so big. And I went looking for a job, and a friend of mine who was a funeral director in Texas told me you need to stick to the cities because of being a woman to begin with. And this is like 38 years ago. No, it's longer than that because I've been retired 14 years. 44 years ago. And he said, you need to stick to big cities because women can't get jobs in funeral homes. And back then, Black folks worked at Black funeral homes, white folks worked at white funeral homes. So there was another challenge. And I was sitting there thinking, I want a job. I have a child. I have to support her. And so I need a real job with a real salary. Okay. So I went to the corporate owned funeral homes and got two job offers fresh out of school. And I picked one of them. I stayed there for a year and then I wanted to work for a private funeral home. So I interviewed out here. I was living in LA. And so I interviewed out here, and all the guy really cared about was the fact that I could embalm and that I was good at it. And he checked my references and got nothing but good stuff. And so he hired me. So I was in a white funeral home. Okay. Um, and I worked for that company for 31 years. And my husband used to get really frustrated because when I was at the point where I was qualified to be a mortuary manager, I would apply for it. And I got turned down time after time after time. And I challenged one of them. And the person that interviewed me was an ex-owner of one of the mortuaries. And she says, I don't have to answer to you. I picked the one I wanted. And that was really kind of the wrong answer.
Mhm.
But at that point, I was kind of done with her anyway. And I simply said, because I knew the reputation of the guy she hired, I said, he's not going to last. And that's all I said. And I walked out of the room and then transferred out of there. But it took a really powerful market director who happened to be a very huge man, but he stood up to corporate and he said, Dee Dee has been with us for coming on 20 years. She is qualified. I'm going to give her a shot. And he gave me the worst mortuary in his market, but a shot was a shot.
It was
And
shut.
I took it and I dove in both feet. That mortuary was operating in the red, had been for years. It took a year and a half to get it into the black. And then they sold it at a profit because it was making money. And then he moved me to another mortuary that had the same kind of problem. But if it wasn't for that guy who didn't care what corporate said, I would have still been embalming and directing funerals,
Right.
and
Thank you.
it did work. It worked. So
Thanks for
here
that.
we
Yeah,
are,
a
you
bit more
know.
of a positive note for us. Thank you. So I'm going to do Phyllis for 2 more minutes and then we'll do the wrap up. Okay, go
Well,
ahead,
thank
Phyllis.
you for bringing this. I'm happy to have, I have to report I didn't get to finish reading it. My sister called me this morning just as I was about to start reading it. Yeah, I feel like part of the issue with the men who attend our meetings is their age. And they're kind of stuck in their ways and they're somehow still have a mindset from the past. And I don't think they see the big picture of how I won't say all of them, but some of them don't see the big picture of how everybody's freedom is reliant on everyone else's freedom. And, like last week, there was we were pretty much talking about women, or last time, and somebody brought up poor men. And I was like, that's not the topic. So you can go back and watch the video. So yeah, it's disappointing. It's caused me to have a lot of anger and stress sometimes in these meetings when that kind of stuff comes out. But this was a good discussion, and I'm grateful for who came. Thanks, Louise.
Yeah, it was nice to not be interrupted and told we're not sticking
Yes,
to
follow
times and
correct.
stuff. Yeah. So Nancy, do you want to have a 1 minute or 2 minute wrap up?
Okay, thank you for bringing the topic.
Thank Teresa.
Hmm?
Teresa, thank Teresa.
No, well, thank you, Teresa, for suggesting the topic to Louise. Okay. Um, I, I don't know. As far, as women is concerned, I think the situation, I don't see it getting better, unfortunately. I really don't. I think you're going to have to, as far as women who are still in the workforce, a couple of things in that regard. You're going to have to, you're going to be uncomfortable for a while as you search for your new normal. All right. Um, yes, the federal government was a safe haven, for us for a long time, but we can't count on that anymore, that the government is going to be a safe haven. As Kerry Washington said in that Facebook post and whatnot, we're going to have to come together and support one another. We can't be fighting one another. We have to develop our own in economy within ourselves and support one another with our own businesses and unfortunately, that's what we're going to have to do. I don't see in the video she talked about voting. We got to get out, we got to vote, we got to make sure that these measures being taken to, throw us back, 70 years, 80 years doesn't happen. But I don't see, Trump is going to deploy the military at voting polls and stations in the November election, which is going to deter people from voting. I just feel that he's doing everything in his power that he gets the result that he wants, or that the powers that be want. So okay, my 2 minutes is up. But anyway, that's how I feel. I don't see a positive light for this. I just don't. I mean, I hope it does. That voting will do that and get rid of
Right.
these people in office, but
We hope.
kind of don't see it happening.
Thank you,
Okay.
Nancy. Dee Dee, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Well, one thing, I enjoyed this meeting because this is a safe place to rant, and but I look back and I remember when when Biden was in office and the gas prices went up just a little bit, and that all of a sudden became his fault when we kind of know it wasn't. And so now, with the gas prices being way up here, it costs over $100 to fill up a car. Nobody's looking at Trump. I'm like you were saying, Louise, figure it out. He did it. Okay. He's got us into a war that nobody wants. And everything, inflation has affected everything. And it's really pretty close to impossible to live in California, especially if you have a young family. Okay. And people are not figuring it out like they should. They should, and I know that he threatens people, he threatens their families. When a couple of Supreme Court justices voted against him on a couple things, he took them aside and said, I gave you that office. And he does stuff like that, so the road back is going to be long. It's going to be a struggle, but we're kind of looking at the worst part. So anything positive is better.
Thank you. Yes. We live in hope. Teresa, 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I got here just in time. I'm doing laundry as usual. Well, thank you. I love the article because when I read it, I had all the reactions that, everyone who's read it and just like shook your head and trying to think of different ways to strategize. And, I thought a lot these days, like this whole second Orange Menace term about the Sufi saying this too shall pass, because that's something you can say when you don't think of, oh, this too shall pass when you're happy, but I tend to think of it more of when we're going through stuff like this. But the fact of the matter is, good things and bad things are going to happen and they're going to pass, and it's just how are you going to get through to the other side. I mean, when I think about, March 2020, I just thought, I don't know how this, and, it's 6 years later. So,
Right.
just try to keep that in mind. This too shall pass. And when you're happy, really enjoy all the elements of that. And let me say one more time, Louise was a part of my happy short trip back to Austin because I left in 2022 and I had 5 very quick days of when I returned. So I knew to be happy and to maximize, and that was fabulous. So anyway,
Yay.
thank you
Thanks, Teresa.
for sharing this with the group, Louise.
Thank you for letting me be lazy and pick a subject.
You're not lazy at all.
I'm actually not. That's one of definitely not. Sorry. So, Marian, you've got 2 minutes.
I don't think it's too much to say. Thank you, Teresa and Louise and Teresa, for this discussion. Even though it's just a handful of us here, I think collectively speaking, we are a very intelligent, smart, sassy group of women who aren't afraid of obstacles or challenges. I, for one, thought about someone that I'm going to call after our discussion is over, and she's a tenacious woman, and she has some connections, and I'm going to ask her about this. And I think all of us going forward will and should speak to anyone we know who are they're of the same mind, that if they're not aware, they should be aware of this monstrous situation that's slapping us in the face right now. And I think there is something that we can do about it. Uh, I've seen comments online where people have been hoping for Tangerine Man's early demise. Well, he's not well. He doesn't eat well. He's sick. And thank God he's not young. And I'm not hoping for anyone's departure from this earth in a casket. But uh, I'm not going to cry. But I know we can't just sit still and wring our hands in anguish and moan and groan. You got to do something about it. So today, I'm going to do what I can when I speak to this person and see if there's some extensions that can be added. I don't mean hair extensions. I mean extensions to actions to stop this horrible mess from continuing, because the worst is right down the road, I'm afraid. And we just can't just sit here and shake our heads and moan and groan.
Thank you, Marian. Phyllis, you were the last on the list, but do you want also a wrap up?
I thought I did my wrap up.
Well, you were the last on the list, and then I said, then we'll do our wrap up.
Oh, that was
But
the wrap up.
that was your wrap up. Okay. Teresa, I just want to say thank you. I'm honored that I was part of your Austin joy, for sure. Thank you for including me. I, yeah, I have nothing else to say really, apart from sisterhood is something that is very valuable to me and to the future. And yes, we do need to, you know, get. I mean, I'm up for the revolution. I just want someone else to organize it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm really not very. I'm. I don't have the savvy or the whatever to do it, but I'd be there. I'd be there in a heartbeat. And I love, Marion, that you said straight after this you're going to get to call a girlfriend, and I love that. You know, that's
Two
yeah.
now that I think about it, two girlfriends who are very feisty.
Well, reaching out and communicating with each other and spreading that love is the very small but significant step that we can do for sure. Anyway, I really thank you for joining it. It had a different vibe, didn't it, this meeting? It was a very, I liked the vibe today. Um, uh, so anyway, that's it. Thank you. Peace out.